Do you ever wonder what's the difference between credit versus debit cards? Why some people are fans of
Debit
debit
cards
cards
mean you
and
always
some
have a
absolutely
budget.
refuse to use debit cards?
Credit cards
Both
mean
camps have their
rewards.
supporters.
But watch out for fraud.
Depending on your financial
But now
situation
I
and
can
your
spend
spending
all the
behavior,
money.
one camp is likely going to suit you better than the other. The key is learning about your own situation and spending habits.
Let's go
As of
cozy.
2026, 82% of American adults own at least one credit card
Almost
and
everyone has a
90% own a
debit
debit
card.
card, and most people have both.
Do you ever wonder
But here is the
what's the
split that
difference
actually
between
matters.
credit versus
People
debit?
earning $100,000 or more overwhelmingly prefer credit, while below that income threshold, debit cards dominate. Which raises the real question this video is going to answer. Is that split happening because of income or because of information? I'll have 5 tips you can apply to your wallet right away by the end of this video. Quick refresher on what is a debit card and a credit card to avoid confusion. A debit card pulls money directly from your checking account the moment you swipe it. It is essentially digital cash. No borrowing. No interest. No bill later. Credit card is borrowed money for short term. The credit card company pays the merchant on your behalf, then sends you a bill at the end of the month. If you pay that bill in full, and you paid zero interest for the privilege of using their money for up to 30 days, while collecting rewards and fraud protection along the way. If you do not pay it in full, and the average APR on credit card accounts carrying a balance was 22.3% in 2025, which is among the highest rates in modern credit card history. That single distinction of pay in full versus carry a balance is what creates the whole debate about credit card or not. Fraud protection is where credit cards have a genuine, well-documented structural advantage, and it is bigger than most people realize. 61% of credit card holders have been victims of fraud, and 51% have experienced it more than once. Roughly 61 million Americans had fraudulent charges hit their cards in the past year alone, totaling about $6.1 billion in unauthorized purchases. Fraud is not a rare edge case anymore. Expect it will happen, it's just a matter of when, not if. Here is why the card type you use matters enormously when it happens. When fraud hits a credit card, you dispute the charge, and you never actually lost your own money in the first place. The credit card company paid the merchant with their money, not yours. We're disputing their loss, not chasing a refund of your payment. When fraud hits a debit card, the money leaves your actual checking account immediately. You get it back eventually, in most cases, but eventually can mean days or weeks, and the hassle and mental stress of not having that money during that time. That could be your rent money, your grocery money, and your gas money that you are counting on. Only 5% of fraudulent charges even involve a physically stolen card. The vast majority happen remotely through data breaches and stolen card numbers, meaning this risk exists whether or not you ever lose your wallet. This is not a small theoretical advantage. It is the single most underrated reason financial educators consistently lean credit over debit for everyday spending, assuming that the balance gets paid in full every month. Rewards on credit cards is the part that gets people excited and deserves a reality check. Cashback is the most popular credit card feature, used by 71% of cardholders. Rewards cards account for 92% of all credit card spending in the US. On the surface, this looks like free money for using a piece of plastic you were going to use anyway. Here is the math. Average rewards return about 1.6 cents per dollar spent for general-purpose cardholders. That's roughly a 1.6% return. On $30,000 of annual household spending redirected to a rewards card instead of debit, that is approximately $480 a year, just for choosing which card to swipe. That's real money I don't think you mind having. Again, assuming the balance is paid in full every month. Here is the catch almost nobody mentions. 22% of rewards users have lost points due to expiration or account closure, and just 29% of cardholders say they are maximizing the rewards they are earning. Here is the psychological wrinkle worth knowing. Research shows people spend 12% to 18% more when paying with credit versus cash. Handing over a piece of plastic feels more harmless than actual cash. Oh, this is where discipline comes in, and your spending behavior matters. Rewards are great, but the spending increase could quietly offset the rewards. Here is the advantage debit cards cannot replicate. The truth is credit cards build your credit score. Debit cards contribute nothing to it. Your credit score affects your mortgage rate, your car loan rate, sometimes your insurance premiums, and even apartment applications. It is not a vanity number. Using a credit card responsibly, with low utilization and on-time payments, is one of the most efficient ways to build that score over a working lifetime, And a stronger score can be worth tens of thousands of dollars in lower interest rates on major purchases down the road, like a house or a car. The truth is, credit cards are great for responsibly consumers. Unfortunately, there are roughly 111 million Americans, about half of active cardholders, that now carry a balance from month to month, and Americans paid an estimated $181 billion in credit card interest in 2025, more than double what was paid just 4 years earlier. The same tool that builds your score can quietly work against you if the balance is not paid off, and 15% of general-purpose cardholders made only the minimum payment in 2024. The credit-building benefit is real. It is only a benefit if the balance goes to zero every single month. Here is the practical framework, not a one-size-fits-all verdict. Use debit primarily if you are currently working through debt, since adding new spending capacity while paying down existing debt undermines the whole effort. Or if you know from real experience that having access to credit causes you to overspend, then stick with debit. Below the $25,000 household income range, debit card usage significantly outweighs credit, often for exactly these reasons. Use credit primarily if you can pay the statement balance in full every month without exception, and you have some financial cushion so a fraud dispute or a billing error does not create a cash flow emergency while it gets resolved. Nearly all households earning over $100,000 hold a credit card, and 98% of them use it as their primary spending tool, largely because the fraud protection and rewards genuinely compound in their favor at that level of financial stability. The transition move is if you want to build toward credit responsibly. Start with one card, put a single recurring bill on it, set autopay to pay the full balance every month, and let it run untouched for 90 days before expanding usage. This builds the habit owning a credit card and using it responsibly. Here are the key takeaways for you. Number 1, the entire debate collapses into one variable. Do you pay the statement balance in full every month? If yes, credit cards offer real structural advantages. If no, or if you are not sure yet, debit is the safer default while you build that discipline. Number 2, fraud protection is not a minor perk. With 61% of cardholders having experienced fraud, and the average dispute meaning your own bank balance is never actually touched on a credit card, this is one of the most underrated reasons to prefer credit for daily spending, assuming discipline is in place. Number 3, rewards are real but commonly overestimated. Realistic return is closer to 1.6% than the flashy headline numbers advertisers use, and the well-documented tendency to spend more when paying with credit can quietly cancel out the rewards you are chasing. Number 4, only a credit card builds your credit score, and that score compounds into real savings on every major loan for the rest of your life, but only if the balance clears monthly, given that half of all cardholders currently do not. Finally, number 5, neither card is universally right. The correct answer depends entirely on your current debt situation, your spending behavior, and your financial cushion. If this helped you cut through the noise on one of the most argued about topics in personal finance, hit the like button, subscribe for more no-jargon breakdowns, and share it with whoever in your group chat is still Team Scissors or Team Business Class. See you in the next one.